Hey there, it's Kimberly here with Knit for Brains. Welcome to this last podcast of 2023. So stay tuned because today I'm going to be talking about everything we did in 2023 and all the fun things we have going on in 2024. So stay tuned. Hey there, welcome back. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains, and today I wanted to do a recap of all the things that I've done in 2023, whether it's crochet, knit, and even weaving, and what I've got planned for 2024. So I tried to do this in order. I think I might have got this. The first one I finished was my temperature cal from 2022. So I actually did get this thing finished. This is my 2022 temperature cal. It is a granny square linen stitch. So each square represented a month. So the temperatures change. This was a Toni Lipsey pattern. So as you can see, it starts in these cooler months. Nope, actually it starts down here. So these are my cooler months. This was January, rolling into February, and then we went into March and April. And then you go back over to the second row. So there are 12 squares, and they go 3 months across. And then the month of September, which is my birthday month, I did a little bit fun. I liked this. I really like this. I used the Lions Brand Mandala yarn, and it was a variegated yarn, so I didn't do it exactly the way that the traditional temperature cal does, where you basically have one color per month. I did try to do that, but I had a lot to do with clipping and different things like that. But I love the way it came out. I love the colors, and a lot of people say that you can't really do a temperature cal if you live in Southern California because we don't have the great fluctuation of weather. I actually really like this. I think it turned out just fine. It's got some real pretty colors going on in it. All the muted colors. This was the mandala, and I think it was, oh gosh, I don't remember all the colors, but they were all kind of like a variegated, like razzmatazz or summer. Gosh, I don't remember because it's not even available anymore. But I will include the pattern. This is from Toni Lipsey. This was her, it was my 2022 temperature cal, but I think for her it was like maybe the year before, like 2020, 2021, something along those lines. But anyways, this was the first one that I finished. And then, as you know, I also did an additional 3 afghans, which I just gave away for Christmas. The blue one that was also with a variegated yarn. Then I did the mix and match gray and yellow and white one. I did that one. And then the last one I did was the movie clapper that I turned in for my son. So that's actually 4 afghans in 1 year. That to me was huge. I was like, Jiminy Criminy, that's like 1 every 3 months. So I was rather impressed. And I was kind of impressed when I looked at all the stuff that I actually did do, thinking, what did I actually do in 2023? Not bad. So this next one, I actually, this was more of a woven project. It is a Mobius cal. Let's see if I can put this on properly. It's a little confusing. I think that's right. Let me see if I can show you. So this one here I actually wove, and it is so this is it. And what it is it's called a Sakiori weave. That's a Japanese term, which means you take something and you make it as good or better than the original garment. So this actually was a series of ties and a dress that I got at a thrift store. And it was 100% silk, and I shredded it into little pieces. And then I added in some different novelty yarns and some silk yarns and different things like that. And I used a really nice, it was called lino, and it was a linen, which is this blue color. I'll assume you guys can see it. So the linen was this blue color, and then I wove in, that was my, I think it was my weft. I think that's right. And then I wove in all these other colors. So it's kind of freeform and artsy and kind of, you know, loosey-goosey, but then all the other parts here were all of my silk and then my novelty yarns. So I actually entered this into a competition, and I won, kind of like a People's Choice Award. So that was kind of cool, but this was a lino linen, and then again, I just went thrifting and got a bunch of silk scarves and silk. I had a silk dress and some silk ties, and I tore them into little shreds, and then I wove this. So this was not my knitting project or my crochet project. This was my woven project, but I do like it. I probably need to wear it more than I have. This was my Mobius Sakiori vest thing, if you will. Then earlier in the year, I finished this, and this was my sweater in a weekend, and I loved this. This was a super chunky yarn that I got from Love Crafts, and this is a paint box yarn, and this was one of my knitting projects. I loved it because it was so fast. It worked up really, really, really fast. Just very blousy, blousy, whatever you want to say. Had some nice ribbing here at the bottom. But actually, you know what? Every time I wear this thing, I get so many compliments. And somewhere there is a matching cowl that goes around it. So you can just wear it as regular scoop neck, or you can also wear it with the cowl. And if you look at my sweet little Kimberly Would Knit for Brains that my girl Shannon from the Spoony Stitcher, she had this nice pink sweater that she crocheted with me in wearing. And actually, it's this sweater that she had me crocheting. So this was done in the first part, like maybe February, January. I actually was able to do this whole thing in a weekend. That was pretty impressive. Then next, now I don't remember these are in the exact same order. This was my next one. This is my juniper shawl rather, from Toni Lipsey. And it had a series of these real pretty yarns. This was one of my road trip cowls or shawls or projects, if you will, that I took with me. And it went kind of around like this. The idea was that I was going to get yarns from all these different yarn stores. Oh, it's so nice and warm and cozy. From all these different yarn stores, like the mini advent calendar kind of yarns that you get, or the little mini skeins and different things like that. And I was going to do that. Well, as it turns out, I thought, just in case I can't find these yarns or these mini skeins, I'm going to go ahead and bring my own. And I'm so glad that I did, because I had a really hard time finding the mini skeins and anything that would have gone together. But I ended up really liking this. And you can wear it as a cowl, just like I have it. Or you can, wear it as a shawl. So I just had the colors variegated as they went all the way down. And this was just a series of bubble stitches and I think like single crochets, but then done in the V-shaped. So I believe maybe this wasn't a Toni Lipsey. I'll include the pattern anyways for this one here. Then I made a granny square tunic vest that actually was a Lucky brand design that I just saw and kind of got an inspiration from the pattern, and then made my own. So I actually did a lot of my own patterns this year, which was a huge challenge for me, being that I've never actually written a pattern. I did that tank. I did that Mobius that I just showed you. I also made this guy, which was a series of granny squares. You might remember this, and this was made using a really nice wool Angora yarn, and this was my happy scrappy cardigan, because I was supposed to use a lot of scrappy like yarn scraps and things like that I might have had laying around. I ended up having to buy a couple because I loved the feel of this yarn so much that I wanted to actually make sure that I was able to keep the flavor, the yarn, the texture, the fibers all together. So, and it's got a nice little boat neck. But this was my happy scrappy, and it's two-sided. You can go either way. My happy scrappy cowl. 2023 for me was the year of granny squares. So many granny squares. Oh my goodness. This was one of them, just about like to set me off, because the ends are like to kill you. Then I had, of course, that temperature cowl that I started with. Then I finished off. This was quite the project. And this is when I decided to take a little break from temperature or from granny squares. This was another pattern that I created on my own. This was a Free People cardigan that I saw and decided to go ahead and give it a try. So you might remember this one. And what was really cool is I made these granny squares, but they were on the bias. So instead of being straight across, they were on the diamonds going this way, giving it a really cool, interesting design. So I like this one as well. This was my granny square cardigan, and this was making a superwash merino wool that was really, and this is really wonderful and soft. And I actually have a couple skeins of this left. So I was actually started, this is one of my whips, haven't finished it yet, is this purse here. And what I was going to do was take the rest of those yarns and make sort of like something that's going to go across the outside, and then, you know, make it like a purse, like so. So it's going to go around the sides, on the edges, and then around the sides here, because I have still quite a bit of that yarn left, at least 1 to 2 skeins of each one of the colors left. So that was a beautiful, beautiful yarn to work with. Superwash merino wool, loved that yarn. Then we started working on those afghans. So, you know, I did the mix and mash afghan, which was the yellow and the gray and the white, the 2 shades of gray using the Schitt's Creek yarn. That was my mix and match. Then again, I did the movie clapper that for my son. That one I just finished. And then I made that afghan for a friend of mine. I also made some little amigurumis throughout the year that I ended up giving to friends. And I don't actually know that I did a video. I did one of a little gnome with a shark that's eating him. So you can't actually see his head. The shark comes over the top of his head and he has a little surfboard. Really cute. I gave that to a girlfriend of mine for her birthday. This was another little amigurumi that I made. This again is from Shannon the Spoony Stitcher. She sent me the pattern, and this is Dobby the house elf. So he was my little amigurumi. I do have a couple whips, but I have to be honest, not that many. And I'm very, very happy, pleased with myself with the little amount of whips that I actually have still in progress. So I'm going to get to that one in a second. The other one that I did was this cowl that I made on the cruise ship. We went to Australia. This was using 2 of the yarns that I got on my road trip when we went to Seattle and then back down. And this was just a very, very simple V-stitch. So I really, really liked this. Super soft, nice and warm and toasty. This was just a very easy cowl that I finished. So I think I ended up counting that I did like 20. I think I ended up having 22 projects that I started and finished in 2023. Now, of course, there are some things I started in 2023 that I have not finished. Starry Night Cowl or Starry Night Shawl is one of them. I'm working on that one. I've started my 4th skein, and then I'm going to do probably half of the 5th skein. I'm going to use to make it bigger, and then I'm also going to do the fringe. So that one I'll be showing to you very soon. I really want to get that one finished. I'm going to count it in 2024, even though I started it and did the majority of it in 2023. So that's going to be really exciting and done. Then, of course, I know I'm going to try to finish this guy. And I also think, as you know, I'm going to incorporate some knitting into this year, into 2024. So one of the projects I'm going to finish is with my Noro yarn, which is my linen yarn. So I've got that project here. It's going to be like a little tunic. So I'll show you that when that one's done. Oh, it's this. It's this guy right here. So, and this is just straight knit and stocking net. And it's just, again, it's just taking a long time, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to absolutely do it. So that one's going to be done there as well. Then I've got some projects, as you know, that I'm going to be starting up for crochet and for my knitting. So let's dive right into 2024. And I'm going to show you what I got going for 2024. Yay! All right, 2024, and I'm very excited. I have probably 2 Afghans on the agenda, one of which is my 3-finger salute cowl. Sorry, I'm in the cowl mode. My 3-finger salute Afghan, which I was thinking about bringing on the cruise, and I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and get that finished. And then I also have one that's been sitting in my stash for over a year, and it's a Persian tile Afghan by a designer named Janie Crow out of England, and it's gorgeous. It's a little intimidating. So, but I've decided this year I'm going to do it. So those 2 Afghans, I'm going to get those 2 finished at least. And then I'm really going to be focusing on a lot of knitting, maybe some smaller pieces. So I wanted to show you. As you know, I got my paint box from Love Crafts. This yarn right here, I showed you this pattern. This one I think is going to be one of those like weekend designs. I'm really excited about picking up. It looks so fun and it just looks so easy. It's got sort of a drop stitch going on. So this is going to be one that I'm going to be doing. This is my crochet. Then the other two afghans I just mentioned, those are both going to be crochet. Then, as you know, I'm going to be doing this sweater with the granny square in the front, granny square in the back, granny squares on the side, using the Katia Azteca yarn. So this is going to be another one I'm going to be starting here in the early part of 2024. So I'm going to be finishing up Starry Night and then moving into these guys here. Now on the knit front, as you know, I bought this Pearl Soho knit kit. I got this from Pearl Soho. So I'm going to start with this just to refresh my skills and just to kind of, you know, get my knitting legs under me again. But then once this is done, and this should take not long at all. If you recall, they're big needles, really big chunky yarn, and big needles. So this isn't going to take me long at all, but it's a super cute color. It's kind of a poppy color. It's called Red Poppy. So I'll have this guy done. This will be sort of my kickoff for my knitting 2024 as well as my crochet 2024. So this will be knitting. The other two projects I just showed you, those are going to be my crochet projects. And then getting into the spirit of knitting, I wanted to go a little bit more challenging. So I'm going to be doing this one here, and this is called The Shift. It's by a designer by the name of Dre Renee Knits. Her patterns are gorgeous. Now, she's got another one that's bigger, and I believe it's called the Night Shift. But I'm going to be doing this one here, and it's using I'm going to be using the butterfly yarn that I got from Purple Lamb Fibers. So when I launch into this one, I'll be showing you this with the yarns and things that I'm using. Gorgeous. Very, very, very excited about this one here. Great way, I think, to use up those, to put to good use, I should say. Those real pretty variegated yarns that are so gorgeous, that maybe a little bit more on the pricey side, so you really don't want to, you can't afford more than one of them. This shift looks like it'll be, let me see if I can show you a really good picture here. This will be a great way to highlight those really pretty colors, those variegated, really artistic, pretty colors that you just don't quite know what to do with, but you just want to make sure you showcase them really nice. So that's going to be this one. This is Dre Renee Knits. Really, really love her pieces. The other one that I found is called Kira Designs, and this one looks beautiful. And this is what they call an overlay cowl. This is a knit, but it's going to have a lighter yarn that goes across. So actually, this is probably the best picture to show you. You can see here it's in two different color schemes. And I think I might be using my butterfly monarch yarn that I got from Purple Lime Fibers. I've got a couple different Purple Lime Fibers yarns. I've got the Monet's Garden that I might be using. That might be really good for this Dre's knits here. So again, when these things come about, you're going to be the first ones to see it. You're going to be the first ones to know. But these are my knit projects going on right here. So we're going to start with the scarf from Pearl Soho. We're going to launch into these two here. We got some crochet going. And then, so let me show you some of the fun stuff that I got for Christmas, for the holidays. So the way that I worked it is, and perhaps you are one of these people, my husband, the Brit, I adore. And he's so thoughtful and he's so just considerate, and he's always helping. As a matter of fact, one of my Christmas gifts was this really cool wireless mic. So now I can turn the camera either way. I can be far away from the camera and I don't have to worry about the sound. But that was wonderful, right? I didn't ask for it. I didn't even know that I needed it, but oh my gosh, what a lifesaver. So now, I don't have to worry about trying to tweak the volume or having the volume just not be that good, because I'm not that good when it comes to editing, producing, syncing everything up. That's not my forte. And so seeing a need, he decided upon himself and he got this. So I thought that was great. So we can thank him for that. I went out and I bought pretty much everything that I wanted for the holidays. And then when it arrived, I'm like, here, you just go wrap this. People were like, really? And I was like, yeah, because at least I knew exactly what I wanted. He didn't have to think about it. He didn't have to worry about like colors, or by the time he got around to actually buying it, it was either sold out, or the colors were gone, or the size was gone, or the sale was gone, or whatever it was. So I just said, I'm buying it as I see it, and then you can go ahead and wrap it. And it turned out great. Really, really nice. I know it seems a little crazy, but I found this designer when I was looking for some knit and crochet patterns for 2024. And it's called MYPZ. That's the website. It's mypz-official.com. I don't know, but that's what it is, MYPZ. And so she has some really cool knitting and crochet patterns that I found on her website. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to try it. So we'll see how many garments I get through this year. This is one of the knitting patterns. It's a long festival jacket. Again, lofty goals, but hey, you know what? If you shoot for the stars and you end up in the swamps, at least you did something. So this is one of them. This one here looks like a very fast knit. It's a top-down knitting pattern, fun and colors. And she's using a lot of Angora wool. And a friend of mine gave me a huge bag of Angora yarn that her mother had given to her. And she said, I don't knit, do something with this. So I'm hoping that I can do that. This one here is, again, a knitting pattern. I understand 2 big, long cardigans like that could be quite the lofty goal. So I'm just showing you what I bought, not admitting that I'm going to do all of these in 2024, but we shall see. This is a crochet pattern. This is called Granny Mohair Pullover Flora. Thought that was very cute. I have all the mohair. I have all the yarns that I need. This one's called 3D Flower Top Glory, knitted from the top all the way down as a little cardigan. So I thought that's super cute. That's another one. I know, I went a little crazy with this one. And then this is called a kimono coat, and this is a crochet pattern. So I have a lot from this particular designer. And I have to close my eyes and grab one and say, okay, this is what we're doing. But these I bought in 2023 with the hopes of 2024. Got some really cool books that I just wanted to kind of run through here with you. So this one here is called Block by Block Crochet. And this was actually recommended to me by one of my girls, Toni Lipsey, TLC Yarn Crafts, or TL Yarn Crafts. And she said this was one of the best crochet or granny square books she had ever seen. And I thought, ooh, so I went ahead and I put that on my wish list, and my brother-in-law from England went ahead and got me this. So I'm going to be doing a review on this particular. It's by Search Press. Leonie Morgan is the designer and the writer, and it's called Block by Block Crochet, quilt-inspired patchwork blocks to mix and match. So sort of like the mix and match that we've been doing, but these are blocks, and it's supposed to have a quilt motif going along with it. So not strips, we're doing squares. It was interesting to me, and oh, that's pretty. That's really kind of cool. So this was one of the books. I haven't really delved into it. It just sounded and it looked interesting. So I'll probably be doing some stuff out of here. And, you don't have to make these out of Afghans. I mean, you can do these, you could make pillows, or you could do sweaters or garments or scarves or pretty much anything that you want. Flying geese, that one's really pretty as well. So this is Block by Block Crochet. Dainty Diamonds, that can be really cute and pretty. So when I dive into this, I'll do a deeper dive into this book, but it got really, really good reviews. And like I said, my girl, Toni Lipsey, who is just one of my go-tos. Her and Tina are two of my big go-tos for patterns and designs. And Tina does a lot of mosaic crochet, beautiful, beautiful things. And so I'm excited to check this one out. This is another book that I have been really interested in for the longest time. It's called Crochet Journey, and it's written by Mark Roseboom. And what he does is he traveled and he created designs in this book that were inspired by his travels. And so they're kind of famous places, if you will. Now, Mark Roseboom is also known as the guy with the hook. He has a YouTube channel. He's got a Facebook presence. He's got all that kind of stuff. And he's this great designer. But there was just this book was really enticing to me. Like there's this one here, these mosaic tiles. And so basically, like, here's the map of the content. Here's the world. And then here's where he got all of these things. And this is by the publisher of this is called David and Charles. And David and Charles also were the publishers on my Mix and Match Crochet and a couple of the books that I've got. And I'm very impressed. Pretty much everything David and Charles Publishers puts out, I'm a big fan of. So I'm hoping that this book is not going to disappoint. This one here, I think I loved. It was based on the New York subway and all the different train. If you've ever been to New York or you've seen a New York subway map or, you know, maybe a London map or something, all the different trains and all the different colors. That's where you got inspiration for that one. There's a couple other ones that were really interesting that I wanted to just take a look at. Let's see. This is called the Fading Light Scarf from Greenland. That one's really interesting. So maybe I won't do an Afghan. Maybe I'll just do, you know, a scarf or something smaller. But this was beautiful. This is sort of like what they call the evil eye. This is a Nazar mandala. So if you know what the evil eye is, typically we see that in like Turkey, Mediterranean areas, and it's supposed to be to ward off evil spirits. So that's the inspiration behind that one. This is the Santa Maria Magori rug. That's the one I was showing you guys earlier. So I'm excited about this book. This was my book that I asked for. It's called The Crochet Journey. So again, when I start a project, we'll be delving into that, kind of going through the book, doing a book review on that. This one here. So I've gotten a gift certificate from a dear friend of mine. Gosh, I hate to say it. It was for Barnes & Noble, and I got it maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, the gift certificate. And I just forgot about it. And I came across it and I was like, oh, I need to use this. So I went to our local Barnes & Noble and I found this book right here. And it's called Circular Knitting Workshop. Now, circular knitting is one of those things that always kind of catches me up. I can do knitting in the round, but when I'm doing like ribbing or different patterns, it always seems to kind of screw up for me at the seam and then I get off count. So I'm looking forward to learning some techniques to avoid that little snafu from going on. And this has everything from like, you know, hand warmers and sweaters. It's a really nice book, very comprehensive, and it got really, really good reviews. So it's got some top-down knit and it's got some, you know, gloves and things like that. But basically the whole idea is that everything in here is all knitting in the round and different tips and techniques to be successful in knitting in the round, which is definitely something that I want to hone in and practice. So once again, 2024, even though I do knit, it's really kind of strengthening my knitting skills. That's what I'm hoping to do in this. And so I was really hoping that this book is going to help me hone in on my knitting in the round. So like converting flat to circular patterns and different things like that. So as I get into this, you'll be seeing a lot more of this book as well. And lastly, for the moment, I do actually have a book that's coming. That's a crochet book that looks really interesting, and it should be arriving like in the next couple of days. So when that shows up, I'll be showing you that one as well. I love my Noro. I love my Noro magazines. I love just to look through them. I love the patterns. And as you know, I've had some Noro yarns that I'm trying to figure out what to do with, one of which is, so I have this bowl of these Noro Yarns Silk Gardens that I've had for a little while. There's only 3, I think I have 4 skeins of this. This is the Noro Yarn Silk Garden, and this is a weight of a 4. So I think it comes in different. There might be like the sock weight, different things like that. This is a weight of a 4. I have 3 skeins. So I'm probably just going to do like a cowl or something because there's not that much yardage in these. They're beautiful. If you don't know what Silk Garden is, it's one of their most popular, kind of one of their mainstays, and it's, you know, different styles and different yarns come and go throughout the Noro line. But Silk Garden is one that I think just kind of is one of their mainstays. And this is 45% silk, 45% mohair, and 10% wool. It's a gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful yarn. It's got a little bit of scratch to it, but that silk really kind of brings it all together and kind of tames down that mohair. And then you've got, of course, the wool, you know, the depth of the wool. So I'm excited about this. Now, each one of these balls is only, skein, if you will, it's only about 100 meters. So there's really not that much in here. So I'm going to do something really pretty. Probably, I mean, even just with this. And just kind of do and I think this is a little ball of it as well. So I love the Noro yarn, and I have a bunch more in my stash, and I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. And so because it's such a unique yarn, it's really more of an artsy yarn. It's not going to be your mainstream. You're not going to find it at Michaels and Joann's and things like that. And if you do have a sensitivity to the natural fibers, wool or cotton or mohair or Angora or any of those, silk, you probably want to stay away from these yarns because they're really rough. They're kind of nibby, if you can see. So I love them, but if you have any sensitivity to natural fibers, this probably is not going to be a fun thing for you to work with or to even have up close to your skin. If that's not your problem, then by all means, give this a try. Now, Mr. Noro, I don't remember his first name. I apologize. He actually passed away last year, and that was a really sad thing. He's had the line for years, but as I said, his yarns are very artistic, very kind of almost fashion forward. And then they have these beautiful Noro magazines that they put out, and I believe I don't think it's every month. I think it's like spring, summer, winter, whatever. And what's really nice is they're about maybe $9 or $10 a piece. So it's not crazy because you get all the patterns. So they show you all the different sweaters. Most of it's knitting, although they do some crochet as well. And then it basically features some of the yarns that they recommend. I even like this one. This is actually done with, it's not done with the Silk Garden. I thought it was, but it's not actually done with the Silk Garden. But anyways, so Taku Noro, who I believe is the daughter of, he's the son of Isaku Noro. He's the one who passed away. Isaku Noro passed away. And so his son, Taku Noro, is keeping on the family tradition, which is really great. So right here, it shows you this is Isaku Noro, and then this is his son who's going to be taking over. But isn't that like just gorgeous? I mean, this is sort of like my fodder. I can sit and read through this like people read through People magazine, cover to cover. And it just gives you, and there's some smaller patterns, different things like that. But then what's really nice is that at the end of the book, all the patterns that they have are all in here. So it's really, I think it's a pretty good value. It's like a $10 magazine. You can get it through your different local yarn stores. You can get it on Amazon. I even found it in Portland at a clearance store, and I think each issue was like 10 cents, and I grabbed every single one that I could find. So I'm excited about this. So this is their issue 23, and it's fall and winter 2023-2024 issue. So asked for this for Christmas, got that. This is issue 22. This was their spring and summer 2023 catalog. And again, some really beautiful patterns in here. There was one in particular that I was very excited about. Well, gosh, there's probably a couple more than just one or two that I'm really excited about. And you don't have to use Noro yarn. You can use they recommend a specific Noro yarn, but all you have to do is probably look at that fiber content and then look at the weight of the yarn, and then you can just do your own thing, right? But I do just love, love, love. And I even just love this one here on the front. So I got these two magazines here. And bless their hearts, my husband and my brother-in-law, like two of the least feminine-ish dudes, are the ones who actually bought these for me. So they buy the knitting crochet magazines. I absolutely love it. This actually came from my brother-in-law. I asked for it. This is the Timeless Noro Crochet book. Now this is 25 crochet garments and accessories. And I think they put these out like maybe once or twice a year. But again, you've got sweaters, and we've got hats and scarves and all different things in there. So I think I'm going to try to, I just love their stuff. So I've never actually made a Noro yarn pattern before, but 'tis the season. I'm going to do one this year. 2024 is going to be my year of Noro. I'm not sure what it's going to be. This is beautiful. This is a crochet. All these are crochets. Oh my gosh. I think I need to add more days to the year. I think I need to have more than 365 days in my year. Look at this one. That's beautiful. So this is the Timeless Noro Crochet, 25 crochet garments, accessories, and more. So this was my holiday givings here. And I got a couple other things too, but this was my really exciting, I just carry these around with me. So I will be doing patterns. My goal is to do probably one of these guys, one of this pattern designer here. Definitely going to do this one. Definitely going to do this one. I'll have to do one out of here. At least one out of here. I'll have to do something out of here. This is my knitting. And then these. So 2024, booked up, done, hard, stop. Lot of stuff planned for 2024. So this was 2023, everything that I did. This is 2024, planning out the year. Comment below, do you have projects planned or do you just kind of like fly off the seat of your pants, which is what I've done in the past. This year I'm trying to get a little bit more organized with what I've got, what yarns I've got, what can I do, and not just flying off the seat of my pants. I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be a day where I'm like, I'm just going to grab a yarn and go. But I'm going to really try to be organized and go, okay, what yarns am I going to be working with this year? What do I have? What do I want to make? And I'm going to be going through these books here. But in the meantime, this week, Kimberly with Knit for Brains, I'm going to be bringing you a tutorial on how to do nice straight edges when you crochet rows. I found some really fun and interesting and very effective tutorials on this. I'll be bringing that to you this week with our tutorial Thursday. I also am going to be doing a review on a little amigurumi, so you can look for that coming up this week as well. This is just a normal podcast. What's going on? What's going on with you? Comment below. Let me know what you have going on. I will see you later this week for sure. Thank you so much, as always, for telling all your friends about us. The numbers keep growing up, growing. I'm going to include all the links of all the patterns in here, and then links over to my favorite designers, Toni Lipsey with TL Yarn Crafts, Tina, even some Noro. This Renee Dre knits, big fan of hers, recent. I just kind of stumbled across her. So I'm going to include all of this in the show notes. So thanks so much for watching. Send your friends over. As always, tell them we have fun here. We're going to be knitting and crocheting in 2024. This is Kimberly with Knit for Brains. And as always, I'll see you soon.